Nah, that's
Alright.
okay. If I had to roll another healer, it'd be a warlock.
Warlocks are healers like sport bikes are cars.
Yes,
They can do it, but
not well.
when you try to do it for more than one person, it gets real tight real quick. Um, Getting into it, a group of you have been spending some time in the distant western city of Akkad. On the far side of the Cloud Spine Mountains, you have come here under guise of traveling mercenaries. Under no official business are you acting on behalf of Elderthorn or the authority of any of the other Taltha. But you were advised by your superiors and benefactor, Captain Stormsurge, depending on the relationship to some of you, to keep an eye peeled. There's things brewing in Akkad that even the representative at the recent Shield Meet Summit of the various Taltha were not particularly keen on. That said, you implored the aid of Kelpip Snowbeetle to assist you in traveling here, and you met up with a former compatriot and friend of his, Finian Finch, who gave you a bit of the lay of the political landscape that Akkad is under. A number of different various factions occupy power. There's divisions along racial and occupational lines. And everyone seems to be jockeying for different small iotas of edge and advantage against one another in ways that are difficult to grasp for people from a more straightforward village such as Elderthorn. As such, you've touched base with one of the relations of a member of Blackburn Watch. A gnomish woman working for the Opulent Depths Mining Company provided you a job. Her name is Helnifi. She set you up as exterminators, relief exterminators, for the company. Their crack team, best at the job, had gone missing, and one of the branches needed to be dealt with. As such, you were given the authorities to pass in the authority needed to pass into the mines through the foreman and go and clear out this branch. And if you found any of the missing exterminators, well, that'd be all the better. Only one of them has returned, and he was stark raving mad when you spoke with him. You delved into the mines, a good distance underground, and came across a series of draconian creatures that were very unfriendly to you and your compatriots, and your desired actions. You fought. You won. Learning that in their death throes, these creatures exuded some type of magical energy, most of them turning to stone and off-gassing this petrification vapor. One of them imploding upon themselves and scattering a lot of you with bone fragments and bits of metal. You recovered a scroll that these draconian creatures had within their possession, with a number of items marked off from it. Glowcap, Drocap, Iron Mold, and Betonite clay were marked off, seemingly having been collected. You presumed this to be some type of shopping list. Gypsum, barite, selenite, and fluorite, uncollected. Those meant very little to you, even after taking a moment to rack your brains on knowledge as to what might need all of these various things, or what creatures might want these, or the uses herein for any type of magical purpose. Answers did not come to you. Nonetheless, you continued to explore the shaft of the mine and found a deep borehole, a shaft that extended about 90-ish, 50 to 90-ish feet straight down, through which was a visible and dangerous vapor that caused even the strong Dunnan to collapse, briefly passed out. After a series of exploration attempts, you eventually sent a familiar down that Siegfried had conjured, down through the shaft, surviving thanks to Teng's presence of mind to cast protection from poison on it. And it explored an underground rift valley. Closed at the top and bottom, it towered, a rift nearly 1,300 feet deep, and sometimes as wide as 150 feet, narrowing all the way down towards the base. There were openings on the far beneath and opposite side of this rift valley that seemed to be not perfectly manufactured and set stones and squared off, but not natural formations either, due to the relatively flat ground of the base of these openings. Would be friendly for a bipedal creature to walk upon. The group of you were debating about how best to proceed. Decided, even with your resources, you need more information. You reached out to Siegfried's father and asked about how the ODMC would encounter something such as this in the mines near Elderthorn. They dig a separate hole, try to patch the gas leak, or, if need be, burn it out. All of which takes time. You ascended back to the surface. At least report your findings, employ that they need to get working on this so you might be able to delve further, searching for these missing exterminators. And you could spend some time in reprieve. That you did. You received payment, you went shopping, you bought smut, and some of you decided to check out the library of Akkad, famed for its knowledge and stores. You were denied entrance. You tried to talk your way around, and were still denied entrance. The library rests in a district that is known to be controlled by a growing faction amongst the peoples of Akkad, known as the Order of Whelm. All buildings contained within this faction's sphere of influence are marked with a trident inside a circle, painted in a swatch of paint. Whilst the group of you were exploring, Dunnan collected a little bit of notoriety. He was recognized on the street by a halfling woman named Varys, who asked if he could locate her missing husband. He'd been gone for 2 days, and he was a runner for the Ambient mining company, charged with taking missives and instructions from the main headquarters on the upper part of the city, down through the lower city, and to the correct mining camp. You started asking around, did a little bit of investigation, found that this job is fairly prestigious and has a large degree of skill associated with it, and these people are valuable. He had been training a dwarven woman with tattoos last time he was seen. Did a little bit more asking around, and the day after, Teng was in the area where this woman was, had been informed by Dunnan of the job, and went to check, and she thanked Teng graciously and magnanimously for finding and locating Timo, her husband, who had returned. He had gotten lost and turned around underground, and took him a while to find his way back out. She was very appreciative, and even gave Teng the locket that she had promised to pay, even though Dunnan had said that no payment was necessary. The group of you are starting today back at Rook's Tavern, Mead Hall, and Inn, where, after discussing, Finch has let it be known to you that he intends to break into the library. He has some questions that he wants answered, and he can't get in himself. At least, not by strictly legal means. And it's about midday for you at this point. Finch is retired for the day. He had been up the night before. And the second half of the day is yours. What would you like to do?
Just a quick question. Wasn't the point where we ended where me and Tang was going to Varys' house
I
to
believe
investigate?
you had. But upon reaching Varys' house, what are you looking for in particular? Because you were standing outside previously.
Yeah.
You saw
And
the symbol. You
Yeah,
knocked.
then we-
No one was home. There was no answer. Tang let you know that they had gone out for. They had told her they were going out. I'm not sure what else you wanted to investigate there. Please, pray tell.
No. I'm not sure. I'm not. Maybe I'm just confused. Carry on. Sorry.
It's daytime. The group of you can be wherever you choose to be in the city, relatively.
So, what now, Aeolus? Are we breaking into the library, or are we going into a pit in the ground?
Well, we have to wait at least a day or so. Tang had contacted Elpit to aid us in some way for
That's
us
correct.
to
Okay.
lower ourselves.
She was promised a scroll of enlarge.
We had already tried sticking myself in a bag of holding to eliminate one person needing to be carried down, but quickly found out that Aeolus' calculations were wrong, and that as soon as he enters the bag, there's no breathable air, and he passes out.
Yes, you determined through dangerous experimentation that a living creature in a bag of holding goes into a comatose, semi-unconscious state and begins to suffocate.
I actually think I can help one person as well going down because I have a potion of diminution. So I can make someone smaller, potentially.
Makes them lighter.
Yeah.
Make one person bigger and stronger, make another person lighter and smaller.
Yeah.
So we have to decide if one of us wants to help Pinch, or if we're going to go about our own business. Has Tang and Anin returned to the Deed House?
Up to them. Dunnan, after taking a look at the Fogcrest's home, what would you and Tang have gone off to do?
Well, most likely, I guess. Sorry.
I think he's been talked to.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess we would have found it weird that that the husband would have just came back on its on his own on Timo. And probably made a sketch from the room we saw. And then probably returned to the others back at the meat hall, yeah.
There you go. You're all at Rook's in that case then. Unless Heliwrast
Right.
is somewhere in particular, but I believe she was traveling with Aeolus to buy smut. So
And she
Yeah,
was
that was it.
also she was also the one that pulled him out of the bar that he was about to cause trouble in.
that's true, yeah. You did cause a
Yeah.
problem with the Order of Whelm. That can't possibly come back and bite you.
Nah, no.
By the scruff of the neck, I believe.
Yeah. It was the only time Aeolus will ever beat Heli in a strength check.
So, are we helping Finch then today?
So he wants to, and I'll look around to see if there's anyone that is paying attention.
Make an insight check for me. Rook's, as you've learned, is not typically well populated. And at the moment, you have a pretty good read on most of the patrons. There's one person passed out at the bar. Someone who seems to be sort of half mumbling into a mug. Might have a touch of the desert madness. And that's about it.
Okay. Well, Inch would like to tonight sneak into the library, and I get the notion that the more of us that want to help, the more difficult the mission will be. So if we want to help, we should choose one or maybe two of us at maximum who are confident.
Make a history check for me, Aeolus. As a vowed member of Blackburn Watch. You've dealt with petty crime in the past. Everyone does. Who works as a member of the Watch at some point or another. Based on your approximation, the danger of being found out won't come as much from the numbers, but from the gear you carry. A lot of you are garbed in armor that is not quiet. So
Yeah, Heli'll stand out.
yeah, so if you
Like,
choose to
she'll
assist,
stand
you
up,
are
she won't go.
you're most behooved by having your crew, but not having armor. Or not having all of the metal.
So, if we want to, we're going to have to travel light.
Maybe we can see if we can get some different armor for Heli and Dunnan.
Oh, I'm not gonna attend that party. I'm not suited for infiltration. I'm pretty sure you are, Siegfried. Can't you just turn into like a small mouse or a cat?
Only twice a day, and I'd rather we were all together, even though you're not suited. There is magic we can use to get around this issue.
Do you expect any troubles inside the library?
I always accept. I don't trust this Finch
Oh,
entirely. He's not telling us everything, and he's obviously using us to jockey for his own position.
Mm.
So,
We expect
he-
a threat
and
or
he-
something?
and he himself might not be working off entirely accurate information. You know, how do we know that the information he has is viable and actionable?
Mm.
You know,
I
I say
also,
we be prepared for anything.
I don't think the Order of Whelm are a group that would hand us a slap on the wrist.
right.
I mean, if I were them and I caught some spies, I would just kill the spies before any of the law found out, especially if we were from out of town. No one would know.
Make a history check, Siegfried, as well.
Oh no, my jelly bean.
No.
You're not quite sure how they operate as far as law goes here, based on what you remember while walking around. You have seen members of the Askar. That's the name for their guard. Patrolling the streets, doing their jobs. But you imagine doing a B&E on the virtual crowning jewel of Akkad is probably not smiled upon.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what the punishment would be, though.
Yeah. Also, there's another potential way. If we find a way for Dunnan to see the inside, we could just teleport in.
Well, I probably would reserve that for getting out.
True.
I think it's a safer bet to reserve that for getting out.
Well, you know that I have spells that can help with stealth, and I believe Ken can cast a spell that removes sound for a little bit.
Oh, and don't
That may be
forget, I can
What?
don off my armor pretty quick. And
I'm pretty sure clerics have the silence spell.
She said, I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Alright. How about what do you say then?
I will check if
I
she has it prepared. Because
Yeah.
Finch is going in tonight, so if she does not have it prepared, she does not have it.
Yeah.
So
I should probably take off my armor. Makes
Or-
it easier for me to be
or just-
stealthy.
God damn it,
Maybe-
Sammy. She does have it prepared.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll keep
Haley will
watching
take
that.
off her noisy parts, but keep what she can. Like maybe a chest piece, just in case somebody chucks a spirit or something.
Yeah,
but
I think as long as we can get like non-heavy armor, I think pretty easily.
So, those of you who wear
Yeah.
heavy armor, which would be Dunnan, Aeolus, and Heliwrast, I believe all three of you have breastplates, and Dunnan's got plate on. Part of those armors do include gambesons that are underneath them, which would be effectively leather armor for you. It's not gonna stop a lot, but like, it might help with like a slice or two. It would be 11 plus your dex.
My armor is, gets donned off and donned on with a word.
Correct.
So could I carry it around with me and just speak the word? So it,
I don't believe the breastplate either causes any disadvantage to stealth.
Let me pull up. I'm pulling up your armor right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the breastplate is technically medium armor.
So it does form a bundle,
Yeah.
Dunnan. So
it
I will
clunks
not
and-
give you disadvantage on your stealth checks,
Yeah.
but you will have a penalty to the stealth checks because you're still carrying all of that metal around. But you could.
Mm.
It would be easier than trying to move with it.
Mm,
So
yeah, then
you
I'll
could still
probably
have
do
it
that, yeah.
ready. You would just have a penalty to stealth.
I'll take that.
I just wanted to check to see if I had put it disappearing into a pocket dimension or into a bundle, and it is bundle. So
Okay.
So it's probably by the time that you all have reconvened at Rook's, the midday reprieve has already passed. Prior to Dunnan and Tang hooking up, it's probably late afternoon by this point, early evening. The group of you can complete a short rest during this point if you have any resources that come back, and that'll also extend the amount of time that you have before I'm going to start asking for Constitution saves against exhaustion. Do you have anything else that you want to do before the evening?
Did Tang and Anin fill us in on
Yes.
all,
Short
on
answer.
everything that? Okay.
On what's going on with Timo and
Yeah.
Yeah.
his wife? Yes.
Tang will show you the silver amulet she was given.
It's weird. Something fishy is going on.
The amulet's beautiful. It's circular in shape, but not spherical. It's as if a sphere was compressed to about a ½ inch in thickness, even though it's about 3-4 inches in diameter. And the upper half has a crescent, like a silver crescent, and there's just been a small concave sort of divot, sort of curved out of the bottom center that's slightly smaller than the large circle that is the full thing. And there's 3, looks like four chisel lines in the center of that smaller sphere, the concave one. It's a beautiful piece.
And
It's on
Conan
a
was
simple
also
string.
I would like to ritually cast Identify to see if there's anything weird with this amulet.
Certainly.
Oh,
Ooh.
Wait, is the order of... Wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna let the group in on what this is.
Mhm.
So yeah. And you said that the wife handed this.
Yes, she
To
gave
you?
it to me. She said that it was wrong to not pay for finding her husband, even though I don't think we did any work for her.
What's weird is that before Timo disappeared, he was last seen with a dwarven woman who had braided dark hair and had a lot of runic tattoos on her, I think forearm and arms. And I think it were over her face as well. And that was one day prior to his disappearance. And then one day later, or a few days later, he just appears out of thin air. And is actually as if nothing has happened.
You know, starting to think this Order of Whelm is more like a...
Out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the inkling too. Something is going very wrong.
I'm putting that
Does-
amulet at the top of the party journal for the time being until you guys decide.
Do you have any copies of the runes?
That we made a sketch, I think.
Yeah, I think they made a sketch of the symbol,
The symbol.
and the symbol was it's the same one as the Order of Whelm.
Okay.
To think that this trip into the library is going to be the only way that we can uncover some valuable information.
Well, I think we need a
Wonder-
rest if we're going to do that, correct?
Well, it's happening this evening. You do not have time
Okay.
for a long rest.
Oh, we never stopped being long rested, though. I don't think.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all rested anyway. I'm wondering if this library isn't really a library, but it's more like a church. If it's a cult. I wouldn't be surprised if there's secret rituals happening in there.
Like spreading.
Like chanting and flames and culty shit.
So I have 2 potions of flying. that will last until the end of this day.
Oh,
Whichever of the two of you want it, so that it makes entering the library possibly easier.
I don't need it. Give it to Heli or Dunnan. Or you.
I will give one
No one.
to Dunnan and one to Heli.
how are we getting in? Like a tall window, or
I thought
That-
Finch might have an idea on that, right?
I said frog might come in handy.
That relies on Finch.
Of note, because some of you were at the library, the windows spiral up the tower, and they start about 30 feet off the ground, roughly.
okay.
The lower ledge of the lowest windows.
Can I? So we have a handful of hours, roughly at most, for when this kicks off. Can I go scout out the library from afar?
Certainly. Make me a perception check with disadvantage and an insight check.
Ellie is having a dangerous thought.
Okay.
That's appropriate.
Ellie has the alter self spell.
I don't think
And
you
is
can
wondering-
alter. I'm not sure you can alter your appearance, only just like parts of your body with that
Nope.
spell.
Transform your appearance. You decide what you look like, including your height, weight, facial features, sound
Okay.
of your voice, hair length, coloration, and distinguishing characteristics,
Cool.
including another race. So, what if
Yeah. And then you can give
Heli-
yourself extra characteristics such as swim speed and climb speed and stuff, I believe.
Right. So Helly's wondering if she should
Skills.
maybe find a member of the Order of Whelm she can imitate, and maybe just walk right in through the door.
But
Or
Can
at
you
the
talk
very
your-
least,
can you-
once we're inside, being able to cover.
are you able to talk your way in, Heli? That method's gonna require a lot of.
That's the
lying
thing.
and wheeling and
Maybe
dealing.
she'll save that for once we're already in, if there needs to be a distraction.
Or if you need to climb down a window from the outside.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But that's definitely on the table if we want to use it.
Aeolus, over the roughly 2 hours that you have prior to returning to Rooks to link back up with your compatriots, you do not see the guards in front change in any way. They are unnaturally stoic for their roles. And it seems like most passerbys understand that they do not get access to the library. So very few people approach them, if any, that you see. You see a few people sort of glance at them, but that's about it.
Okay.
You do see that there's clearly activity within the structure to an extent. Small windows in the upper levels of stained glass open here and there. You do catch one of them one window actually being closed at one point. But you do not see anyone come or go. And
Is there anyone I spot moving around at the top of the structure?
not with that roll and with the height of the structure, no.
Okay.
So the height of this the Library of Akkad is, one moment, let me, about 150 feet tall, which is absolutely massive compared to virtually all other structures you've seen in your lifetime. And at the base, doing math. The widest part of the base is probably about 200 feet. Maybe 220 feet across. If you sort of gauge the diameter. This is a very large structure. That probably prior to arriving in Akkad, Aeolus would not have thought possible to build.
I think the only thing left is to talk with Finch.
It's like an Amish person seeing a skyscraper for the first time.
Right. That's literally what popped in my head. Right then.
Aeolus returns from his scouting mission. If you're waiting around in Rooks, about 2 hours after sundown, see you sort of yawning. Coming downstairs. The familiar shock of red hair, that is Finian Finch. Sort of groggily get some food. What are y'all doing right in here?
Had lots of food.
How was your day?
Good, mostly just thinking.
That's
So-
dangerous around. Some people don't like people thinking.
So, Emu was found.
Ah, really? That's good.
He just magically appeared back at his house, and so did the symbol of well.
That's good. I guess he joined up.
Is there something of the order that isn't publicly known that you may know? Any conspiracy theories? Any whispers?
People got plenty of theories about it, but I'd wager that most of them aren't worth the shit in a pig's straw.
What about the one, or do any of them focus on lycanthropy?
These parts? No. Not for a few centuries. Nothing to do with the Order of Realm, as far as I could tell. Not really a common ailment.
How about any stories of a
like
red?
that island.
What about any stories about a red moon?
Red moon? No. Not sure what that would have to do with the Order of Realm.
So, what are your plans for this evening?
I told you what I'm doing. I'm gonna go commit a crime.
Well, we're down.
Down with what?
If you would like help.
Sort of looks over at Grumble. Aye, fine. You can tag along. Don't get in me way, or you're the most amount of help you'll be is becoming bait. Sort of winks at you.
Well, if we need a quick escape, Dunnan is our guy. So make
Oh.
sure you're close to him.
Point to my head. This one helps a lot getting out of dicey
You mind?
situations.
You're a very clever tactician.
And he is.
Yes, a bright genius. And I give a big grin.
Well, never judge a scroll by its cover.
Speaking
Yeah.
of scroll, Pigfried,
Yes.
I found something that that I'm unable to read, but it has more of a gardener's touch. I was hoping you may be able to look into it for me.
Sure, you need a translation?
Yes, and I will pull out a scroll and hand it to Siegfried.
Okay.
It's a large scroll, the ends of which have ornate. It's a green stone. You're not sure if it's like quite as precious as jade, but it's got a green stone at the ends of each scroll. It's a well-made document. The scroll itself is maybe about 1.5 inches in diameter along the cylindrical line. It's nice.
Sorry, someone was talking to me. Apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask Finch, do we have some time to cast a spell?
It's fine. Yeah, I go for it.
I would ritually start casting Comprehend Languages.
All right. About 10 minutes later, you have the spell completed.
Yeah. Does it reveal anything about the scroll?
When you complete the spell, and then unfurl the scroll, you learn you likely did not need to cast Comprehend Languages, as the scroll has no words. As you unfurl a good swath of it over the bar top, in the relatively deserted by this time of night inn, you see a number of orcs and half-orcs engaged in very graphic and risque positions.
Aeolus, I think this is just what do you call pornography?
Lied to us, Ellie.
Whoever made this really liked orcs and half orcs, I guess.
Mm.
God. I'm sorry.
Where'd you get this from? I
From a
mean,
smut shop. I mean, shit.
they used jade and the ink. Though whoever did this spent a lot of work on it. Even though the nature of it, I guess I admire the craftsmanship. I hand it back to Aeolus.
Wasn't the reaction that I was hoping for. I just rolled the scroll back up.
That was the most I read it for the article's reaction you could have gotten.
Yes, it was. I was like, oh, the artwork's really nice. Here you go.
All right. Hey, if you're done, whatever that was, we should be going.
Sure. So before we go, my chain shirt is a medium armor, but you said it still might cause some negatives towards stealth checks.
I believe chain shirt has penalty on stealth.
Let
Let
me look
pull
at
up the chain shirt. I believe you have disadvantage on stealth whilst wearing it.
Okay.
Chain shirt. No, you do not have disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah.
But you're fine in the chain shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause
Heliwrast, Aeolus, and Dunnan wear heavier armor than that.
Okay. Yeah. So I will leave my chain shirt on then and wait for the others to do what they do with their armor.
Yep.
But I will
Dunnan-
also be right back. Sorry, I have to
Okay,
step away.
good. You will have a -3 penalty to your stealth checks as opposed to disadvantage just for having it in your pack.
Got it.
Okay. Walking through the streets, you're not doing anything suspicious. Traveling after dark. You're not dressed like you're up to no good. Just like people out for a stroll in the evening. Grumble, the giant toad, does not accompany Finch. You make your way through the town, about 30-minute walk to the Great Library of Akkad. Stationed there in front, as you sort of do a just lazy walk around the perimeter. Aeolus, you spot the exact same guards you saw previously. And, in fact, the same guards you saw earlier that day. The exact same ones, as far as you can tell. They're not moving. They take note of your passing by, continue their guarding.
I was gonna say, have we spoken to them? Are they real? Like, are they actual human beings or whatever?
Yeah, Aeolus spoke with them. Alright, so either we could cause a distraction. I was planning to set a building on fire. But if you got another suggestion, I'm open to it.
I prefer not to add arson.
It's just a little bit arson.
What if we...
It's like a small amount of arson.
What if we were able to go aerially? Do you think that would help us, Finch?
Probably. Although I still don't see what's wrong with burning down a home.
You don't know what happens to those who lose homes due to arson.
They build a new one. That is fine. Aerially. Be fine.
You are
with
not
me.
setting someone's house on fire.
Fine.
So, we have... How many people can fly right now, Aeolus? I can fly. 2 people have flying potions.
So, if it's just the 4 of us, Aeolus is the only one without flight, unless he uses levitate.
How about you, Finn?
I can't fly. Not like a bird or nothing.
Well, how far does your levitate get us, Aeolus?
The levitate can carry 1 individual for up to 10 minutes, but they have no control over which way they go, besides up.
How about this? Do I know if I take the enlarge potion, will it affect my wild shapes? Like, will it make my wild shapes bigger, or will it just make Siegfried bigger?
It would make Siegfried bigger, unless you give the potion to someone else to give to you after you have wild shaped.
Okay.
So it's an order of operations thing.
Yeah. That's I wanted to figure that out.
That's what we're going with.
Yeah, that's fine with me. So potentially, I can
get up there. Well, fine.
Okay.
You don't need to carry me up as long as you can get yourselves up.
All right, I can fly up. Aeolus, maybe we should stick together. When I transform, you can I hand him the diminution potion. You take this, and you give me the enlarged potion when I'm in my animal form, and we ride up together.
Do you have an enlarged potion?
Doesn't. Well, that's Ten's potion. We can't
Ten
add.
was going to get one. It's not been delivered to her yet.
Okay. Well, I at least have the diminution potion, so I can make Aeolus smaller. And I can change into a giant vulture right now. So hopefully that's big enough. We've seen my vulture before.
I mean, if you shrink Aeolus down, I'm sure most of the creatures you can change into to have a fly speed can carry him. He's not heavy.
You can change it to an owl. You can carry Actually, no. It would still make you small, right?
Yeah.
The diminution. It doesn't
No,
make you tiny.
but I believe I can change into a giant vulture right now, which should be big enough.
Yeah.
But that might be too big.
Well, it'd be
I
large
don't
enough to. It would be too large to get through the windows.
Yeah.
It would be large enough to carry Aeolus as Aeolus is. You wouldn't need to shrink him.
Yeah. So okay, so I will turn into a smaller bird, and we'll say an owl for now. Aeolus will take the potion, and I will carry him. Dunnan and Heli will take the flying potions.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The owl would
Yeah.
still be too small because an owl is tiny, and Aeolus will be
Okay.
small. So he will still be larger
Okay,
and heavier than the owl.
Let me look up the animals I can look at.
No.
I can
And,
turn into.
Aeolus,
Right
what was
now.
the thing that you said you had access to? Levitate.
Yes.
So you could attempt to levitate up the wall.
Yes, but I have every bit of confidence that that will go terribly for Aeolus.
So level 1s are all giant ones, so they can't fit through the window.
But can you be pushed
I
in the
can.
levitate spell?
I can technically tie a rope to someone and they can pull me into the window like a kite.
Yeah.
Is a giant owl big enough? Like, if a regular owl is tiny, how big is a giant owl?
A giant owl's wingspan is 12 feet.
Oh shit.
Oh gods. That's scary. So yeah, so we can do levitate and then just the group.
Why would you need to be pulled into the window? You could levitate right up next to the window.
Yeah.
This is true. I was just trying to cover all of my bases.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, if you do need to be pushed, somebody could just a flying person could just kind of push a little bit.
You and Dunnan one of you stay near Aeolus so you can at least direct him
Yes,
if he needs help.
if necessary.
Yeah. I think Heli that should be you. Since you're a little bit stealthier than Dunnan.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So how is
Aeolus,
Dunnan getting up?
Dunnan has a potion of flying.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And I can turn into an
Heli's just raw dogging it and wearing her leather undergarments, no armor.
Okay. All right. So
owl. Siegfried doesn't change her. Dunnan has his armor bundled up.
yeah, I'd like a stealth check from all of
Aeolus,
you. Are you casting Pass Without Trace?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I will absolutely cast Pass Without a Trace. Whenever we need to, please let me know if I need to
That's
cast
what
it
I was
again.
asking, yeah.
Yeah. I will cast it right now.
Can I possibly cast guidance on myself?
You can.
Cool.
All right. So
You don't have heavy armor right
yeah,
now.
you don't have disadvantage at the moment.
Yeah,
So
no.
it's a 14
Okay,
for you.
so
And Dunnan has a 14 with the -3 penalty, so it's an 11.
11.
So 21 for Dunnan, 24 for Heliwrast, 25 for Aeolus, 27 for Aeolus. I will grab Teng's sheet.
I am going to wheel myself.
Oh,
And could I also cast guidance on myself as well?
Teng rolls a 35.
I will also cast guidance.
Guidance is also concentration.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So I'm actually at 21 now because of my wheel.
Okay.
as an
did you-
Owlin,
What did you roll?
Does
for
Teng have-
yourself? That was
I
six,
rolled
16.
a 6 plus 5 from the wheel.
Okay, 11, 21. Gotcha.
Yep.
Alright, so 21, 21, 25, 35, 24.
Yep.
Very good. And let me grab Finch's. Finch rolls a 28 after Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
Finch will cast Spider Climb on himself.
Nice.
And
I love
he
that
just
spell.
takes off his boots and just walks sideways up the wall to the window. He carefully opens the window. Hey, there's nobody here. Sort of whispers down, so it's like a sage whisper. Next one of you, come on up.
All right. I think Dunnan should go up.
Me first.
Yep, you
All right.
first.
All right.
Done and
I'll
you
go first.
ascend. As you're coming down to the sill, Finch holds out his hand as way to help you balance on the edge.
Then next is Heli and Aeolus.
Okay. One by one, you make your way up. Heli, are you also drinking a potion of flight? Is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay. Aeolus, those potions last for an hour, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Noted. All right.
But they were going to go by before the end of the day, right? If we didn't
Yeah,
use them.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. One by one, the group of you ascend. Tang takes up the rear, and the interior of the library is dark. Are you casting dark vision on yourself, Siegfried?
Yes, I will absolutely cast Dark Vision on myself.
Okay. It's noted for 8 hours.
Yep.
Of note, the group of you have approximately 6 hours before I'm going to start asking for Constitution saves against exhaustion.
Okay.
Finch rested during the day. You guys did not. Okay. You've entered into the second floor of this library. Let me grab my description. Give me a moment. Don't need Finch's sheet up. Tang sheet. Item. Alright. Where you've entered, you're surrounded by a series of desks. A good 13, 14 desks with chairs strewn about. Most of the desks are covered in scrolls, tomes, inkwells, candles that have burned down to a nub and have been extinguished. Beyond the desks themselves are a series of bookcases. Each bookcase is 30 feet in height and approximately 60 feet in length. They're arrayed in 2 sets of 4 on either side of a gargantuan column of stone in the center of the library. Arranged along the column of stone is a series of shelves with various objects and accoutrements. They look to be different artifacts, and each of them has a small brass placard underneath each of them, too distant from where you are at the moment to make it out. On the opposite side of this stone column, the column itself looks to be about 40 feet in diameter. Likely solid stone, from what you can guess. On the far side, you see a staircase, switchbacks over itself, erected on a latticework of stone and wood. It seems to be well reinforced. It ascends down and up through the floor upon which you stand and up to the next level. It draws your gaze high, where about 30 to 35 feet above your heads is a vaulted ceiling. All of the arches sweeping from the outside edges of the structure to the central column, such that the lowest points of the ceiling mostly rest upon this central stone column, and slightly upon the outside. It's clearly the main support of this gargantuan structure. Beyond the staircase, you see another series of bookshelves. These are not quite as long, but still as tall, going nearly to the ceiling, and packed with scrolls, tomes, books of all manner and shapes and sizes. In the library of a cop. This will be a series of skill challenges, depending on what the group of you chooses to research. You can choose to work together on a particular subject, or you can choose to go after your own subjects individually. Every attempt to research something takes an hour of locating, perusing the books, so on and so forth. For the purposes of language, you can assume that you are able to find things that you are able to understand. So I'll ask you, what is it that the group would like to research, or each of you individually like to research? Finch goes off on his own. He's working on something for himself.
Danan would most likely speak for a book about the kami and the gods of Akuan.
Okay.
What do you think, Aeolus?
Be a nature check for me, Don. Or religion, your choice.
We're
Yeah.
here to find out about the Order of Helm, right? Well,
Order of Whelm. Whelm. Whelm.
so I think Aeolus, maybe you should focus on the Order since you were the most investigative out of us.
Additionally, if you are failing your checks, the longer that you research something, the easier it gets to find information that you are searching for. So bear that in mind as well. So if you don't succeed on the first attempt, you can choose to spend the next hour researching the same topic, in which case you may find it. Or you could spend the third hour researching the same topic, which will make it even easier to find the information for which you search.
Sam,
Well,
go ahead, Ellie.
I was just gonna say, Helly's not exactly curious about anything, so she's just there for muscle. She's going to keep watch and make sure that nothing bad happens. She's not really going to research anything.
Okay.
And I cast Detect Magic and look at the bookshelves and see if there's anything magical in this room
Certainly.
or on the shelves.
The central column and the various artifacts and doodads resting upon the shelves do not exude any type of magical aura that you recognize. They seem to be non-magical. The shelves themselves seem to have no magical aura. Around you, on the desks, tables, and upon the shelves themselves, the books, scrolls, parchments, all have a very faint touch of abjuration magic upon them. The lightest dusting.
I will relay that information to the group.
I rolled a 14 on my nature check.
Yep. I want to know what the rest of the group is searching for over the first hour.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just say to Aeolus, it could be an alarm, or it could be a minor protection on the scrolls itself. Lots of mites and bugs, you know.
Right. Can I research into the hierarchy of a cod?
Certainly. That'd be a history check for me.
I would like to research bode milestones.
Okay. That'll be a straight intelligence check.
Okay.
And Heliwrast, you said you are not aiding any of them, nor are you researching anything, correct?
Correct. Oh, she can aid if somebody wants help, but she's basically just got her eyes and ears peeled for any kind of trouble.
She's our lookout.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, who are you assisting?
I think for us, the person who really wanted to come here was Aeolus.
Certainly. It was roll another history check. Oh, pardon me. Hold on. Let me double check something. I set specific rules on this. Heliwrast, you also make a history check. My apologies.
Okay.
It's not like you read every other word for him, but you can be working on the same topic. So you're getting more checks at that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But not too good. At least not the most literate.
Dunnan, over the course of the hour, the first hour, you are flitting about from shelf to shelf, looking through sections, using your flight to the best ability whilst you have it, to sort of skim through the upper levels of some of these stacks. You do not find what you're looking for, but you feel that you're getting closer to the right section. To sort of look into this stuff about the kami and the natural world.
Keep on looking, huh?
Aeolus, you are a little bit lost for the first few minutes whilst Detect Magic is still going. Everything sort of has this weird glow to it that you weren't expecting before you drop the spell. And you and Heliwrast spend most of your time going through the stuff on the tables, trying to at least rule that out as possibilities initially. Seems like none of the people here who are researching things during the day were writing things, from what it seems on some of them, are working with the information about the city in which they inhabit at the moment. And Siegfried, you were looking for information on the Bodmal stones.
Correct.
After the first hour, you learn that the city of Akkad has a henge nearby that has recently been activated by the presence of a Bodmal stone, which they knew of its identity and its presence prior to it becoming active. Excuse me. Yeah, it tickle my throat. They knew of its presence. They knew of the method of activating the henge, and there was a desire, although not a concerted effort, to see the henge reactivated to open up trade with different parts of the continent. But you learn that during that hour.
Okay.
You do not learn, or more correctly, you learn that they do not, they themselves do not have knowledge on how the Bodmal stones were crafted and made. And Tang is going to roll a check for herself. Okay. First hour is up. There are sounds from outside the library. People walking about. A small bit of conversation, but nothing that sounds alarming to the group of you. As you move into your second hour, what topics of research would you like to...
Noticing the sound, is there only one door in and out of this room?
There's no doors in and out of this room.
Okay.
You are on the second
Window.
level. There is a switchback staircase with
Okay.
landings about every 30 to 40 feet.
But it's just like an archway, not a door, or just open.
It's not an archway. It's open. It's
Open.
It's
Okay.
freestanding to
Okay.
the north side of the central pillar. It is not
Okay.
connected to anything.
Okay.
And it goes up through the porthole into the chamber above, presumably.
Sure. Yeah. So if there's no door, there's not much I can do. I would just try to continue researching Bodmal stones. That's okay.
Certainly can.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make another check for me. Straight intelligence. Dunnan, are you continuing your research into the kami?
Yes.
Okay. Make
Definitely.
another check for me as well, Dunnan. Be religion. Alright. Sort of poring over the notes, Dunnan, you feel you're sort of close. A lot of the stuff that you read during this next hour, it's stuff that you already know and you sort of picked up through traveling with Siegfried about the little charms and different habits that people have to do with the kami. Nothing satisfying as far as an answer for you quite yet.
This is why I hate books.
Siegfried, you fail to find any additional information on the Bodmal stones.
Makes sense.
Aeolus, are you continuing your research into the structure of Akkad's government?
I'm not. I would like to try to find some information on the rod.
Certainly. Make me an Arcana check.
Oh boy.
You're working on it. You do not find anything quite yet.
I'm gonna wheel Aeolus on this check.
I'm going to rule that you're likely not within range over the course of the hour to provide that. Since you're,
That makes sense.
if you were aiding him, it'd be one thing because you would be at the same desks or something like that, working on similar topics. But this travel is taking you throughout this area of the library.
Makes sense.
It's a very large space.
Yep.
So you can totally use it for yourself or someone whom you are aiding. But
Yeah, I just didn't use. I didn't think the most I could get is an 8 if I wheeled myself. I didn't think I was gonna get anything.
Yeah, all good. Heliwrast, are you continuing to assist Aeolus? Or are you changing topics?
No, still assisting Aeolus, but mostly keeping my eye peeled for any problems.
Okay. Go ahead and make a check for me as well, Arcana. Heliwrast, you do find one scroll, small and tucked away. Just sort of stands out to you. As you pull it and sort of skim it over, pass it over to Aeolus. One moment, let me grab my details. The scroll talks about. It's a very high-level sort of discussion over the conflict between entities unnamed that desire chaos and unnamed entities that desire law and order. Not law in the sense of laws of civilization, but that everything has a proper place and there is an order and focus and intention behind things. Whereas the chaotic side of the argument, there is no reason, there is no cause and effect. It is pure chaos. The scroll itself, and Aeolus, you can read this as well, talks of the delineation between these forces being a difficult border. One that law increasingly encroached upon and took new territory through. Until chaotic forces were banished to the corners of reality. True chaotic forces. Things that have no cause and effect, that defy understanding, are gone for all intents and purposes from the reality through which we, in the author's words, exist. We live in a world of law and order, but chaos always attempts to encroach upon it. It is constantly there, edging through seeping in through corners and the dark spaces, and it is important to be vigilant against such chaos. A tool was used to aid in the taking of territory from the forces of chaos. That was, as its purpose had been completed at the time, broken and scattered to the winds. That's the end of the scroll.
Can I take out the rod, and does the direction of the pull I felt, does that change?
Does not. Still almost straight down, very faintly north. It's like a 5-degree angle to the north. Mostly, almost entirely straight down, though.
I wonder if this tower has a basement.
It's been down. It's been pointing down or pulling you down since you've arrived in Akkad. So
I know, and it was, and when we were in the under city, it was still pointing down.
correct. Yes, even when you were down in the mines. All right. That is. Let me double check my checks. 6. Okay. Third hour comes about. Dunnan, you feel you're close to finding information concerning the kami. Are you spending your third hour trying to make sure you
Well,
figure this
he's
out?
he's getting kind of frustrated, but he's feeling close, so I
Well,
guess
certainly.
it's 1 more hour.
I do not need a roll from you. You succeed on your third hour. Aeolus, what topic are you switching to?
I would like to try to pull any information on the Order of Whelm that
Okay.
this space may or may not have.
Heliwrast?
Still hanging with Aeolus.
Okay.
Whatever he
Siegfried?
needs.
More bone milestones.
All right. Siegfried, you feel confident after your last roll you have exhausted your ability to find information on this.
Okay.
You have already succeeded in the
Oh.
roll.
All right. Oh, I didn't realize that.
You rolled a
I would
17
then.
initially.
I would then. Okay. I would then try and help Dunnan, since Aeolus is looking up on the Order of the Whelm already.
Okay. So Dunnan is automatically succeeding at this point.
Okay.
He's committed a
Crap.
third hour.
Crap. Damn, never mind. I thought he made the roll. What else can I look up?
If
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want. Well, I want. Is there any information on what Akkad was built on top of?
You can search into that. The
Yeah.
geography of this region.
Yep.
Tang is going to search into the minerals and that list that you guys found.
Okay.
Nice.
That is a good idea. Absolutely.
What are you saying?
Actually,
Aeolus?
yeah.
Oh no, I was just commenting on how smart that was because I forgot about the rocks and minerals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so Siegfried, roll me a nature check.
Okay.
Tang will also roll nature, which she sucks at.
Ah.
She rolls really well.
Damn.
Aeolus, you are switching to the Order of Whelm. Roll me a straight intelligence check. And Heliwrast, you are assisting. You also make an intelligence check.
Oh shit! Oh no, intelligence is good.
Well, that's a
There we go.
save. You don't have your proficiency, but
Oh,
it's
sorry.
still rolled really well. Still an 18 base. Like,
Yeah.
So it's a 21 total. Okay. We'll start with Dunnan. You've narrowed in on your focus, Dunnan, over the course of the last few hours. As you are exploring this topic, you learn that contrary the ongoing theory from about 350 years back, you find the treatise written by an individual whose name don't recognize, an individual named Feltheral, whose experience in demiplanes and subplanar spaces led him to have an ongoing interest in the presence of the natural spirits of the material plane, as they did not exist within any demiplane he created. As such, he's devoted the second half of his life towards the understanding and research of the kami. And he believes, you weren't sure where the acceptance of this theory is, that the kami contrary to popular belief, are not the reincarnations or lingering presence of energies of individuals who have passed away. Rather, they are the shadow of living objects, plants, and natural animals that live in accordance to the laws of nature and the land, that have been illuminated and cast by the weave of magic throughout the space. And as such, any demiplane created, whilst the weave is still permeated, it is tethered to the creator of the demiplane. And as such, it cannot cast the shadows, because there are no creatures living within the demiplane that live according to the laws of the material plane. The living fern on the side of the road exists in the material plane, but it also has a reflection in the weave. And that reflection, casting almost light upon the fern, creates a spirit that the fern has throughout the world. And it is this belief that he held to throughout his time, that things are far more connected, and there are spirits that are far more ancient and old than anyone gives these things credits for. Trees and streams and maybe the mountains themselves have reflections within the world that have been there as long as they have. As long as the weave has been present, these things have had their own kami exist within the material plane. A manifestation of their very essence.
Does it mention some point maybe how to get in contact with him, or did the author ever try to get in contact with the kami?
He made attempts. Once he postulated his theory, he was older and did make some attempts through a variety of quite powerful magics that you've not heard referred to previously. One spell he described, upon casting it, he suffered brief bouts of insanity for about a 10-day, before he recovered back to his previous faculties. And that was his last foray into attempting to contact these things. Prior to and up until that point, he describes hearing whispers, not as words, but vibrations, as if reality was all connected by the strings of a harp and someone was very gently plucking them. Not quite music, not quite word, but these echoes in reality. As he researched and studied the kami more and more, he believed it was them calling out, wishing for him to contact them upon their own plane, but the madness he attributed to not a failed spell, but incapability and understanding. It's one thing to speak to a plant or an animal through the means of magic, but it's an entirely different thing to attempt to communicate with something that has no concept of time in the same way that you do. Maybe they intended to reply and forgot about it for a century. By then his spell had ended. So the concept of conversation, he postulates, is likely as far into the kami as anything else, as they are not material beings.
Okay. I'll turn and take up some notes, write down.
Certainly. There's
Yeah.
plenty of parchment and quills upon the desks for you to be able to do as such. All right. Aeolus, you said you were looking into the
The Order of
Order of Whelm. 15 with Heliwrast assist as well. You find very little. The Order of Whelm appeared a little over a year ago. Of that, they were a small faction. They started to gain traction within the various guilds, had a member here and there. They were semi-aggressive about recruiting, but respected people. That's about it. You find no notes or information on whom they identify as the leader of their order, upon where they meet or do business. You find no listed rules of who or who they do not engage in trade with. Shockingly little. For even, you would imagine, in a city of this size, a faction that's grown to such prominence in such time would have a large degree of written word about them, and yet it is not here, if it exists at all. Right, Siegfried, you're up, and you rolled 24.
Yep.
And you were searching into the structure upon which Akkad has been built, correct?
Yep, just like trying to get some bearings on the Undercity.
Of course. There is a remarkable wealth of knowledge about this, and you find a good degree of it. The Plateau of Akkad was discovered about 1,300 years ago, 1,373 to be exact. The city was initially built around an oasis, which you now realize as you read through the tale of the founding and construction of Akkad, bit by bit. The oasis still exists. The central park and cultivation area of the city that grows the gigantic and bountiful fruits is that former oasis. It's persisted, and they've maintained it throughout centuries. Despite the harsh environment in which Akkad has been founded, commonly it'd be ideal to set such a large city at the port, as opposed to about a league away, about 3 miles from the port of Akkad, which is outside the city, and merchants need to take a caravan to. It was set in such a place because the plateau provided natural defenses against, at that time, which were dangerous pirates and coastal raids. So setting themselves so far inland, while still having access to the water should they need it, made a lot of sense. Additionally, having such a abundant resource as the oasis meant that they could survive in the harsh desert despite the ongoing heat. The biggest dangers of the desert tended to be sometimes you didn't sleep great and you were still exhausted, and something to do with just how the heat is. But the oasis meant that even with the geographical defenses that the city had, it became a very important city because of those defenses and because of the ability to have this fount of life in an otherwise harsh environment. About 700 years after the founding, they were inducted and not quite conquered, but there was a begrudging respect between them and an empire, which you have previously learned about. through the activation at that point of henges. The one nearest to Akkad is a few days' travel to the north, and due to its placement, a construction of a massive road was embarked upon. It's known as the King's Road. Akkad was one of the beneficiary members of the King's Road, and it was used to connect across the north-south divide of the continent the cities of... Let me grab my map, one moment. The cities of Akkad and Karad, through a deep inland port on the northern reaches of jungle. It was also connected to the far western edge of the continent, far to the north, in a series of foothills that has been attempted to be settled several times, but due to unstable magics within the region has been abandoned. So Akkad and Karad remained the two cities that were tangentially connected by the King's Road. And it's commonly separated by the waypoint of Akkad's own branch that leads to it. There's the King's Road West and the King's Road East. The apex of which is, of those three meeting points, is Akkad's Henge. From there, the tale continues. Akkad continues to be built. The library was built during this time as well, as more and more individuals discovered this was an ideal place to source and store a great number of works due to the climate. All right. Teng shares the following information with you from her stupidly good nature check, despite her 1 bonus. Okay. Okay. She took the list that the group of you had of nutrients and, minerals and items and fungi, pardon me. These are nutrients to a burrowing creature that has an effect on the region in which it lives. Teng shares with you that she believes there to be a deep dragon that lives somewhere beneath Akkad. The regional effects of such a creature is that books, letters, parchments, and physical forms of writing within a 6-mile radius of such a layer cannot be destroyed by non-magical means. Anyone who finishes a rest within that radius has about 50% chance of not recovering from an exhausting day. Mechanically, you don't recover exhaustion on a save if you fail. And finally, vegetation and fungi within that radius grow faster, larger, and cover twice the area that they normally would. Foraging and harvesting such growth yields about twice to thrice the normal amount of food. She shares with a somewhat grave expression that she believes there to be a deep dragon, living somewhere near or under Akkad, likely under because of its burrowing nature. These nutrients are used specifically by nesting female deep dragons. They are collected to make strong shells of eggs.
Well, now we know what's in that opening.
Is it a threat?
I
Depends
think
on,
only if we poke it. Which, we'll do, but...
but
Question is, do we have to?
I don't know. It's somewhat of a benefit to the city, right? They get more food because the dragon's down there, but right now the dragon is sending out teams of minions to collect resources. I mean,
Make an intelligence check
Works.
for me, Siegfried.
okay.
I mean, if that is the case, it would be for its young, right?
I'll wheel myself on this one as well.
Okay.
Yes. She's nesting.
That's a 14.
Okay. Siegfried, based on what you actually researched that cycle, its presence is likely the reason for the existence of this city, and the city would likely not survive without its presence.
Yes, if we eliminate this dragon, the city will end. The oasis will die out.
I
And
don't want to do that.
I don't
Well-
think that's part of our mission.
Additionally, Teng will also share with you that these are solitary creatures. They do not carry minions. They do
Perhaps-
not take mates, except
So we
when
do
it is
know
time
what
to hatch.
the dragon wants. Perhaps we just give it to them so they stop attacking miners. I think that's the biggest issue here is that
Deep-
their nesting instinct is forcing them out of their standard solitary nature to send out teams to recover them, and the more those teams interact with the local populace, the more potential for conflict comes up. So maybe we can be the ones who give it to them peacefully and end this peacefully.
So, to play devil's advocate,
Of course.
what if it's not the dragon that is requesting these materials? What if it's something that's keeping the young for itself? Like
Well,
a
yeah, what
certain
if it's...
order of Whelm to have control
yeah.
over the city?
I think either way we have to investigate, but
Oh, I have to go down there regardless.
I can't make myself any more clear. If this dragon dies, Akkad is effectively over.
Right, we would
I'll-
need to
I'll-
protect her,
Right.
not fight her.
I have no plans to fight a creature that's not a threat. If it is here for Akkad's
Yes,
stability
I
and
mean,
safety.
Otherwise,
But,
you hear a series of quick footsteps.
is it Finch coming up?
You stop your conversation.
Yep, absolutely.
Then it had to go. Finch does come sprinting towards you. Hi. We might have been found out. I'm not sure. How punchy are you feeling?
She.
I think we might just be able to leave right now, Aeolus, correct?
Yeah.
I will look to Anin.
Down and get it?
Everyone grab onto him. Take us out.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to you guys. Where are you having done take you?
Back
Rooks?
to the tavern, to Rooks. Yep.
Okay.
Probably to our rooms specifically. Our room specifically.
Alright. All of you grab onto Dunnan. Finch just tangles a hand up in Dunnan's beard. Hi, pretty boy. And the group of you teleport. All of the things that you were researching still out and about. You are returned to Rooks. You land, settling about a half inch off the ground. falling heavily, catching yourselves. Rook's Inn and Meat House in about 2 a.m. What would you like to do?
I'll ask Finch, did you find what you were looking for?
Fair bit. Not quite exactly what I wanted to. I went down to one of the lower levels, searched through the tomes there, couldn't find where I was going. Went up to the upper levels. So you all were in the main sort of research area. The room above you, the floor above you is all private rooms. Tore through them in a little bit. There was a chest that tried to eat me at one point. Killed that. And then the upper level seemed to be... it's not what I remember. I think someone's done some remodeling. It looks to be like sort of a lecture hall of some sort. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of strange-looking glyphs on the floor. Fought someone.
Okay.
That's when I came back down. Fought someone. When I stabbed him, strangest thing happened. Grab my description for that. Give me my thing. One moment, please. I want to get the description right. So I don't want to mislead anybody. So strangest thing happened. So, stabbed him. Got a good stab. It's okay. I'm not useless with my blade. They sort of turned red, like translucent for a moment. And then they just sort of exploded. There was no bones or nothing. It smelled like sulfur. And sort of
boy.
like it's like blood, but it wasn't opaque. It was sort of like almost see-through, kind of slimy.
And this person looked like a humanoid,
Aye,
like
the elven
flesh,
lady.
like elven.
Aye. I mean,
So
when you stab an elven lady, typically she doesn't turn into like gunk and blow up and hurt you.
he was casting magic at you.
She is trying to. She wasn't that good at it.
So Finch, you might be interested to hear. This is not the first time we've heard of something like that.
Pray tell.
So, you remember that job we took for the ODMC?
You were telling me about you went into the mines, killed something.
Yes, we ran into some draconic entities, beings that were green-skinned, green-scaled, wings kind of hunched over, a little bit bigger than a normal humanoid, but there was a warrior group of them. When we killed them, they turned to stone and they let off a gas that turned others to stone around them.
She didn't turn to stone or nothing.
I know.
It was like this
But,
weird goop.
But we ran into a caster. When we killed them, they exploded like what you just described.
To be clear, they did not explode.
Oh.
He just described.
Oh, I thought they exploded into shards or something like that.
They exploded into shrapnel from their
Okay.
bones and scales and whatnot. They did not turn into goop.
Okay, I understand. So it's I would just
They
say
exploded.
yeah, it's similar. So, but Finch, did you smell anything when it happened? Any kind of gas?
No,
Any...
it smelled like rotten eggs. And a fireplace. That's about it. Like if you took 3-day-old eggs that were like had been like punctured and like sat out in the like a cold sun, and then tossed them in a fireplace. Didn't do nothing clean up. Lit the fireplace and then sort of rolled them around in embers and soot for a little while, and then smeared it all over the table and took a big long whiff with your nose against the wood.
Well, that's exactly how it smelled when we fought these creatures.
Can I search through my memory to see if I've heard of anything like this?
Certainly.
Can I possibly smell Pinch to see if there's a lingering scent?
You can ask, or you just go over and give him a big whiff.
Uh, I'm just gonna walk over and with my Hunter's Bane just give a really big whiff.
Sure. Give me a survival check because you're trying to pick up a scent.
Can I wheel
Nice roll.
Aeolus in this instance?
If it's anything of Fey or Fiends, do I have advantage?
You can roll advantage. You will not know if I'm using the advantage roll or not.
Right.
And am I allowed to wheel him?
Yeah, sure.
Am I close enough? Cool. I will do that. Because this seems important.
Okay. So it's either an 18 or a 25. Nothing that Finch smells like immediately registers as Fey, Fiend, or Undead to you, Aeolus. You get the smell of crushed pine needles and dew-covered fields of clover, heather, some type of greenery and ground cover. The smell of morning dew from this big whiff you get of them. You do also get a very small faint of sulfur.
Well, I think Aeolus, this is at least some evidence that the Order of Whelm is connected to what's going on underneath the city.
But are they protecting the dragon? Is that what their job is, to protect her?
You found a
Or
dragon.
are they-
There wasn't no dragon in the library.
I give Heli a look and I'm just like, it was just an old story, anyways. But we did find these creatures poking around, an open
Make
shaft.
a deception check for me.
Yeah, we'll do a deception check.
Finch will use luck. You said it was an old story.
Yeah, didn't find anything useful. I was just looking for maps underneath the city.
You hear the lock, the latch on the door turn into place. And you glance back. Finch has his blade drawn and pointed at you. What did you find about the dragon? That's not something to be... Didn't pass the deception check. That's not something to be bandying about. There's a
What, you
dragon
heard-
here. We need to know about it.
The
It's
city,
not a threat.
it's not a threat.
That would have been a better spot to lead on. Firstly,
Well, I'm
Go
not
on.
sure I can trust you, Finch. You're holding a knife at me. Drop the knife, and I will tell you.
You just lied to me.
You've been lying to us the whole time.
I have not. I resent the implication. Just not been telling you the whole truth. Totally different thing.
Yeah, exactly the same thing here.
I don't have
Yeah,
the
you're
wherewithal
lying.
to be able to tell you everything. Understand that I answer to
Regardless.
other people.
We
Then
are
tell
on
it-
the same side.
I will tell you what I know about the dragon if you tell us everything you know about the Order of Whelm. How about that?
Make a persuasion check.
Oh shit!
Damn good roll. Yeah. Yeah, right.
How about this? I'll go first.
Right.
Hold on. Before we do this, Aeolus is going to case the room and is going to cast alarm on the room.
Okay. Mark up a spell slot.
All right, Finch. There is a dragon under the city, but it's a dragon that's been here before the city has even been built.
He pulls over a stool. He still has the sword out, but then he sets the stool in front of the door. Sits down upon it. Alright?
And from the signs of it, it appears to be an ancient, some sort of ancient dragon whose effects benefit Akkad. The Oasis would not exist without the life of this dragon. If the dragon dies, the Oasis dies. Do you understand that?
I understand. All of the words that you've said make sense in the order that you've said it.
We believe these beings smelling of sulfur are somehow connected to that dragon. And we want to go down to investigate.
Do you
That's-
have you ever heard of a deep dragon finch?
Roll a check for Finch. He does not have that skill. Still rolls a 20 total. The better and a less sort. It's about all I know. It's like the Violet dragons.
As far as we know, these dragons want to remain in isolation, away from people. But it seems like the Order of Whelm is now poking at that isolation. That's a danger to everyone in this city.
So Whelm's threatening to hurt the dragon, you think?
We don't know, but they're involved somehow. If that sulfur lady is all the way at the top of their library.
Our current
Well,
suspicion.
she's not there anymore. Now she's like 38
But you-
different places around the
but
top
you-
of the library.
But you did notice the guards are strange, right? They didn't change out for the whole day.
They did not. They stood there, towing, almost stationary.
And I mean, I'm pretty strong, but I would not be able to take a 24-hour shift in this heat without switching out, would I? Do you think, Finch? Can you do that?
Wouldn't want to. They're even there during the midday reprieve as well, when no one's out and about.
Exactly.
Hi, son.
So, my theory is if the Order of Whelm somehow has something over this dragon or has something of the dragons so that they can grab control over Akkad.
They control if they control the dragon, Finch, they control the future of the city.
So hold it hostage.
Exactly.
Threaten to kill. I mean, it's not. It would be one thing if it's like a magical duck or something. That like, I mean, duck. It's easy to kill a duck. It's not easy to kill a dragon.
But it is easy to kill a young dragon.
Well, you just said it was
Possibly it's
ancient.
a- So
We have
The
reason to
city's
believe.
centuries old.
We have
it
reason
is-
to. I
it is a solitary dragon.
but I hand him over the list. We found this list on the agents we believe are looking for the dragon. It was one of the things our comrade investigated in the library. We believe the dragon is nesting. And if they get control of an egg, the control of a young dragon, they may be able to leverage that into control of the mother, don't you think?
It's possible. I mean, you said the creature's solitary, right?
Yeah.
From what I know, don't know a lot about this one. Done a bit of stuff myself in my time. But from what I know, dragons, they don't typically give a shite about their young. They lay their young and fuck off. And I mean, that's the ones I know of. If this one's like solitary by dragon standards, like by comparison, I guess, would it give a shit about any of its young? After it's sort of shut him out?
I don't know.
May
I
not.
don't know enough about dragons.
But
I mean, dragon parts are valuable.
But do you believe that this is something that doesn't need to be investigated? Do you think that this is not a danger to the city if the Order of Whelm is
Oh
investigated?
no, definitely fucking weird.
well, and due to what our friend uncovered. The ability to thrive for a cod is due to the dragon's presence. If this dragon has eggs, think of what the Order of Whelm could do if they took those eggs and brought them elsewhere. They control the wealth that those eggs would bring a new city.
You'd have to be planning something centuries for eggs to grow into proper big uns.
Well, I mean, there are beings that live centuries in this city, are there not?
It's fair.
And you're the one who said that some schemes have been in place since the city was created.
So
you
wait
said
a
that
minute.
you said that word for word when we were walking in here.
Hold up. What if the leader of a cod, you said that they were centuries old, right?
Somewhere up there. Let me grab my notes.
I may be going out on a limb here. What if our dragon's not underneath?
That's possible too, but I mean,
Oh, that's not it.
I just think we need to go look.
I agree.
Is that enough information for you, Finch?
King Aldrich. Aldrich Valor. He's 350 years old. He's pretty old for a dwarf.
So
So,
are you
if-
satisfied with what we know, Finch?
Well enough. Puts the sword away. You can see as he releases the three emeralds that he has set into the grip sort of glimmer as he releases his hand. Clearly some type of enchantment or glamour upon the blade. Returns here. Alright. So, I mean, it sounds like you got more information than I did. Outer Realm popped up a little bit more than a year back. 1-2 members tried to figure out who they were, weren't able to. This was stuff before I got to the library. They've been missing for the last 6 months or so. The original members, from what I understand. I can't. Some of the secrets I'm sharing you aren't my secrets to share, but some of the other individuals amongst the city, well-off individuals who vote amongst their blocks and help try to guide some of their guilds and whatnot, have noticed, and it's become an increasing concern, that some of their members were staunchly on one position and a particular vote, varies from faction to guild to faction. And a few 10 days later, they had done a complete 180. They were voting for things they were previously against. Right around the same time that they started cooperating with the Order of Realm, a couple businesses even moved locations, which isn't a small thing. Typically, shops will stay in families for generations, especially with how long-lived some of the people are. It wouldn't be uncommon that a smithy could have been in the same spot the last 200 years, easily, as long as they do a fine business. But some of these businesses would change locations instinctively or impulsively, I should say, and it just set strange with merchants guilds and smithies and where some of the deliveries for the miners guild went, and it all seemed to coincide with them moving into the districts controlled by the Other Realm. They changed their position on topics, and a not insignificant number of not high ranking, but not nobodies within the city have noticed it. And they reached out to me to try to look into the Order of Realm some, try to get some information. That's why I was where I was tonight. Checked in on that. Found some information. Started poking around the rest of the library. Found the lady upstairs. Stabbed her in the face. It wasn't actually a face. It was like or a collarbone.
It was odd. Every time I tried to look something up on the Order of Realm, it was non-existent.
This is the trouble I've been having for the better part of 6 months since I've been on it.
The interesting thing is, Aeolus, now that I'm thinking about it, if documentation existed about the Order of Whelm, due to the dragon's effect, they wouldn't be able to destroy it.
Exactly.
They would have to hide it.
I'm saying, well, at least by non-magical means.
Oh, true. If they had a spell, well,
I don't know if it's a specific method, but presumably it's possible. It's just not easy.
So they're either using a specific type of magic to destroy the documents, or they're hiding them somewhere.
And yet, the group of you think that they're hiding them down below where you were killing stuff.
Oh, yes, we do.
I initially thought that there may have been a basement to the library.
But
the stairs stop at the bottom level. I didn't see it come down at any point, but I mean, I was upstairs for part of it as well.
Finch, I hand him the draconic shopping list again. Can you see if any large quantities of these items are being moved around the city right now?
I can check. It'd take me a day or two.
Most
of this is, to be fair, refuse material. ODMC would, if they find a vein of this, they dig it up, toss it off to the side, and ignore it. It's not. None of this is worth much.
But because
Even
it's not worth.
Meh.
But since it's not worth much, it's something that's easy to hide, is it not?
What, hide a collection of the material?
Yes.
I mean, it could go the other way around. If you start asking UODMC to buy a ton of bentonite clay, they're gonna wonder why.
Exactly.
I mean, they'll sell it to you. Don't get me wrong; they'll be happy to do the business. It's a waste product of them mining anyway, but it's not something that they're gonna cart out, so to speak.
Yeah. So if you wanted to steal substantial quantities of this, how would you approach it? Without the ODMC?
You sort through the mines.
Okay.
That's where it all gets left. There's no reason to cart anything back to the surface, let alone to the coast. There's no market for most of this. I mean, maybe in small quantities, but those would be herbalists and healers and medicine women throughout the Undercity, most likely. And that's simple enough that one of the family members who's a member of the Miners Guild throws a little bit in a pack. Miners, ODMC don't care because it's not worth nothing. But like, if you want a lot of this, you'd have to go into the mines yourself, or pay a lot of money and get some raised eyebrows.
I don't think they're paying money, but I think we understand now why miners are disappearing. So now you know everything we know, Finch. Our goal is to go underground and see what's happening for ourselves.
I mean, it wouldn't be a lot of money. Like, if you wanted 50 pounds of gypsum, like, it's going to be way less than 50 pounds of gold or silver or something. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's still, they're still going to charge you for it, you know? And that'd be a weird request that a foreman would get, because they would have to get to that foreman eventually. One of the runners would have to say, hey, pick up 50 pounds of gypsum off the fucking ground and cart it out. Like, the foreman, hell, even the fucking miners would be looking at the foreman like he's got 3 heads.
I don't disagree.
Hey, Finch, I have a question.
Yeah.
What happens to those that publicly speak against Whelm? How quickly are they round up?
Depends on the manner. It's not a crime to speak ill of a faction or not. Typically, it's a little bit more like social suicide, to be going around the streets shouting like a town crier. But there's plenty of opposition to him. It's just they vote remarkably consistently with each other. Any member. Most other factions will have a dissent and varying opinion on a subject matter. A couple of years back, the ODMC wanted to open up a new shaft that would have taken them a bit southwest of, like, underneath the plateau proper, which is fine. There's a few of them dotted out that spider out underneath the desert some. And they were voting on this, and some of the miners were for, some of them were against, but they're all members of the same mining block. But when the Order of Realm's been voting on things, they all are in lockstep. There's no difference of opinion. It's like one of them decided this is what we're doing, and all of them said okay.
Spencer,
Yeah.
I remember. Did you mention something about the creatures? It seemed like they had some kind of hive mind that we fought, or am I misremembering that?
The draconian creatures?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No. Okay.
Not that you were aware of.
Okay.
Or that you took any particular note of. They seem to act independently.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it seemed like.
As you would normally expect them to act.
Yeah.
Heliwrast, you were about to say something?
Oh yeah, I'm typing it in. Timo, isn't he a member of the Order of Realm now? But he wasn't before? Am I remembering that correctly?
That's what
Like his
our suspicions are, because it's plastered on the side of his house now.
But it wasn't before. I wonder if he's, as a runner, is being used by the Order of Realm to either shuffle information. We're talking about them hiding scrolls and different things. I wonder if he's part of that now. That would
Yeah.
explain his disappearance for a couple of days, because he had to go way deeper.
Finch,
But then he came back. Oh, normal. Haha.
do you think you
everything's
might
fine,
be able
thanks.
to help us with that?
Help
Can
you
you
with what?
Can you keep an eye on Timo?
Timo?
We know he's.
Well, I could
He
check
did-
around the city for these shipments, or I could keep an eye on a fucking halfling.
Keep an eye on the fucking halfling.
Language. Siegfried.
He's working with the Order of Realm, and he disappeared a few days ago, and seems to be back without any issue. Right when all
Okay.
this nonsense has been happening. And I show him the amulet that
You said he's a runner?
Mm-hmm.
It's
One of the
not like
best.
it's not like I can keep track with him. If I start chasing after him, I'll be spotted.
Well,
I can keep an eye on his home. I can set someone on that.
sure. Well, now you know what we're doing, Finch. So, what's it now? Are we still allies?
Aye, for now. He gets up off his stools. Does a stretch. Alright. My sleep schedule's not fucked. No thanks to you.
Well, we were about to go to bed. So, let us know if you find anything. If you don't hear from us, we've gone underground.
Quite
Or
early.
we've gotten eaten.
Literally.
Yeah, or we got eaten, or whatever horrible thing.
If you got eaten, you need to be underground, right?
Yes, or just one thing.
What?
If you fight those things again, be careful of the gas. That one's gas may have not affected you.
It was a smell.
I know that smell is dangerous. It turned one of us to stone down there and nearly killed us. So be careful
It
when you go
wasn't
stabbing.
the same thing.
We don't know.
Stone.
We don't
Totally
know what's
different.
going on. We don't know what's going on. We just remember that smell.
Looked like raspberry fucking jam.
Oh, well, that's tasty.
I'm just trying to look
I
out for
love
you.
it.
Finn. I'm just trying to give you what we know.
It came out of a people.
Well, good luck.
I've eaten very questionable things that have come out of monsters.
I thought you were ending that sentence a different way. Alright, night. He leaves the room.
Oh, I didn't think all this was going to be connected, but it definitely seems like it is.
Group, you turn in for the evening?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I need all of you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please. I'm pulling up Dunn's sheet to roll as well. You're fine, Aeolus. Alright. So Tang and Dunnan both gain a level of exhaustion for the exertion over the course of the day. Dunnan does not pass his save after the long rest, so Dunnan retains a level of exhaustion going into the next day. Other than that, everyone completes a long rest.
Okay.
Alright. Question for the three of you. Do you want to continue now that you have the information, or would you rather wait until we have Dunnan and Tang?
I think we can wait.
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you guys.
I'm up for that.
Seems like you guys are at a crossroads here, whether you decide to delve straight underground, try to investigate more on the surface, see if Finch gets anything. You're expecting to get a scroll of Enlarge at some point today from Kelpip, which
just
presumably is being used to get you down into lower into the mines.
Yep. And just to double check, how many days left until Aeolus's armor is ready?
Let me adjust the calendar so that way.
Have? Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Today is now the 3rd day of Oktar, I believe.
Okay.
7 days left.
Yeah. You can pick it up on the 7th day. Yeah, pick up on the 10th.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, and those
Yeah,
that you
we wait.
could say we're gonna fuck around for 7 days, and see what happens. See who dies or whatever.
Yeah.
See,
No, I
see how much Aeolus pisses off the Order of Whelm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and Finch, who is now known to at least potentially been seen by one of them, if your theory is correct.
Right.
So. All right.
Hey, you want to let me in the library yet? No? Oh, see you tomorrow.
Let's go back every hour on the hour. How about now?
Yeah.
How about now? How about now?
Hey, guys, so we saw Aeolus get stabbed?
He was lightly stabbed. Like a diet stabbing.
Yeah.
You guys did really well with your checks, though, surprisingly. So every check that you made added a +1. As soon as the checks put you over your lowest stealth roll, that's when you guys were getting either a fight or had to leave.
Yeah. I figured we actually found out a lot of information, so we could have just pieced out at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did really well on the checks.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a roll. It was just there's a progressive number once it meets your stealth check, which you did very well. A 21 as the low check.
Yeah.
That's when you were going to be found or fought. So.
Which we avoided.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well done. All right. So
Yeah.
For the first time ever, we actually stepped away from
you
the fight.
chose to not take on a fight. Well
Yeah.
done. And potentially pull the entire Order of Whelm to the library.
Oh, God
And
damn it, guys.
The first time in 4 years.
Yeah. You didn't set off an alarm, didn't allow enemies to raise an alarm at your incursion, and succeeded in rolls. Who are you all?
I mean, it was only because they took off their armor. That's literally all it
that
came
armor made a huge
That's
difference.
it?
Yeah.
Because literally every other
Right.
time it would be like we'd all get good stealth roll, and then Dunnan would get like a 10.
Well, Heliwrast would have had a 10, so it would have been
Yeah.
found one cycle sooner, which means you
Yeah.
would not have gotten those last pieces of information.
Yeah, which was very valuable.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, so we'll pick up with that stuff with
And-
hopefully a full
and
group
you-
next week.
Yeah, you said a potential new player as well, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah. That'll be fun.
We got to write in for that.
That'll be fun.
I don't know what
Is-
she's intending to play. But...
Oh.
I
Well,
think-
that
yeah,
takes
she
care of
can-
my question.
Yeah, she can literally probably play anything if she wants to.
Yeah.
Party right now. Yeah.
She-
Probably don't need
she-
a healer. There's a lot of healing in this party already.
Yeah.
She played a fantastic Celestial Warlock.
That's a healer. Oh,
No, I know, but like, just for everyone else.
Oh, you're into the Dragon Queen game?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like she played her part phenomenally, although didn't use most of her spell.
No, she's very Eldritch Blasting.
Yes.
She also had a Staff of Fire, which got used like maybe a dozen times in the entire
it's
campaign.
so funny.
Mostly to do friendly fire.
Yep.
There's a lot of friendly fire. I've played another game with her since then, where I'm a player. She played a Harengon Barbarian.
Okay.
And presently, her and I are playing Twin Elves Druids.
Cool.
In another game. So.
I also think it's really cool that you're working on publishing this campaign. I really liked what
Oh
I
yeah.
Thanks.
what you showed so far. I think it's really
I
cool.
put up speaking of tangentially related to that, I have some stuff on Drive Through RPG now, which is exciting.
Oh,